I'm here at the BioFire booth at Industry Range today, and this gentleman is showing me their latest creation here. Walk me through like the manual on this, right? So I'm picking it up. What's happening? How do I shoot, basically?
Totally. So the BioFire SmartGun, it's always locked by default, and basically we're using biometrics, in this case a fingerprint sensor and a 3D infrared facial recognition system to recognize the user. So what you'll see here is, when I'm not interacting with it or holding it, all the lights are off by default. And then as I actually start to interact with it, you see how it lights up there, right? You see the white lights on the front and the back. That basically indicates that it's trying to recognize the user. When I actually grab it properly, you see it unlocks. In that case, that was being the fingerprint. It's going to get yelled at if I do the face, but you can try it out up there. And basically the way that works is it's looking for my fingerprint. Once it matches the owner, or some of the owners chosen, in this case, I'm the owner in this fire. And basically, that is something where I can now handle the firearm just like I would normally. So I don't need to keep my finger on the sensor. I can do anything that maintains control of the weapon with my primary hand. It's going to stay unlocked. And then, most importantly, as soon as you leave my hands, you'll see within about 100 milliseconds, it's going to be locked and unusable. That's really the key part. We're focusing on home defense with this product. And we envision this as, if you're going to keep a gun outside the gun safe, on your nightstand, otherwise accessible, this is the one that is just as fast access as the traditional, totally unsecured gun, but prevents your kids, your teenagers, somebody's broken your home, access to it.
Yeah. I'm certainly interested to shoot it. It's a unique look. I have one question I have to ask. The last time I've seen a SmartGun, it was defeated by a big-ass magnet.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Great question. So, what I will say is that the premise of a SmartGun is kind of obvious, right? Like, why wouldn't you want a SmartGun that there's certainly no magnet that you can hold up to it that's just going to make it work. And a big part of that is because of our electronic fire control system. So the upper of the firearm is using here. It's a pretty traditional 9mm striker fired architecture. It's a locking block architecture, short recoil, but we're not the first people to do that. Where it gets really interesting is actually kind of in the bottom half. So in a traditional, striker fired pistol, you'd have a trigger bar. It would engage with the sear back here. When the sear drops, the striker goes forward, gun fires, right? In our system, there's actually no mechanical connection between the trigger and the sear. The trigger is actually really just a fancy switch that's input to our electronic solid-state fire control system that's making a real-time decision. So there's not like, unlike previous types of smart guns, there's not like some block in there. There's not some blocker that big and clever teenager with access to YouTube can get over, right? In fact, the entire gun is actually built around this encrypted fire control system in such a way that you would have to rebuild the entirety of inside of a firearm to be able to get around it.
I'm excited to shoot. Thank you for walking us through it.
Totally.
And, I want to get my hands on it. So.
Totally. We're looking forward to it.
Internet name.
So we're going to roll fingerprint. Right-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, so what you want to do is support the gun with your left hand.
Okay.
And it's going to grab like 3 or 4 attempts. It's going to grab middle finger. Flip it again, release.
Come up this way. Let's watch it together.
Awesome. All right. Me as the admin, I have to confirm that I wanted to add you to it. So let's do a double check and make sure that it locks.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So now we're unlocked.
Sam's got a magazine for you.
So I've unlocked the gun, and this gun is now mine. I can run off.
Alright, 10 minutes here. It's green. It's ready to shoot. This post is high. There's a round in the chamber. I'm not an authorized user. Neither is your friend. If you want to hand it to us either time with a round in the chamber, we can show you won't shoot.
Okay. So how do I chamber around that? Like, what's the manual of arms here?
Grab the slide right here, like this.
Right.
Pull back. Pull back a little bit farther.
Got caught on my glove there.
There you go.
Alright, so now the SmartGun is work. So in theory, I should be able to let go, and and it won't be able to shoot because it can't read my fingerprint anymore. So I'm not holding the gun with my right hand as registered. Let's see if I can shoot. Nope, the trigger's not doing anything. Alright, so I'm gonna do my right hand now with my fingerprints. And it turns green. So now I should be able to shoot.
So this was BioFire's first year at SHOT Show. This was their first demonstration, actually letting us get hands on this gun. Overall, my impressions of the gun was that it looks neat. It looks like a cyberpunk deal. I think they're trying to market this to like your average suburban tech bro, like for instance a tech bro that stays at home with kids and doesn't want to be bothered by learning about how a gun actually works, just wants to throw a bunch of tech at it and pray to God that it's safe. They were very vague about how this gun actually keeps itself locked when it's not in use. He gave me a rambling answer for about a minute about how they designed it, about how long they've been designing it, and the challenges that they've had. This gun, they say, is meant for home defense. So I think that explains some of the size of the gun, because this gun is actually pretty large. However, there's no spot for an optic to be mounted to the gun. There's no spot for a light to be mounted to the gun. The gun does come standard with a laser that turns on as soon as it's unlocked. However, I mean, most people don't use lasers, and they're just not that great to be relied upon. I didn't see any way to actually zero out the laser pointer on the gun. There's also no threads on the barrel itself, so there's no way to mount a silencer or anything like that to it. I wouldn't expect for the end user to be able to actually like fix this gun or service it in any way whatsoever. It seems like it's very closed source. I don't know how much demand there is for this outside of your average lawmaker or law enforcement officer, saying this is the solution to gun control. It's big, it's heavy. The trigger feels okay. It feels certainly better than the Kel-Tec 5.7 trigger that I used earlier in the day, but I really wasn't super impressed with this gun. I think it's fixing a problem, or at least trying to fix a problem that doesn't actually exist. I'm curious about what your thoughts are. So sound off down below. Do you think that you could ever trust a gun that doesn't have a manual trigger linkage? Do you think that you could trust a gun like this to unlock when it's time and you need it most? Are you even interested in the BioFire Smart Gun? Let me know. Thanks.